Ooh, my hair is crazy. Okay, so spirit animal. So it's been highly aggressive the last this weekend. I mean, oh my gosh. I've been just going nonstop. I mean, I've been going so much that I even fixed, oh my gosh, my hair. I even fixed my own website. Okay? I fixed my own website because it was looking pretty bad, and I discovered the icon of how you want it to look based upon the end user, and the end user could be a droid or a phone end user. And so I had to make it friendly for both the desktop and the droid observer as far as my website. And then using my blog site as a way to respond to any kind of critics or whatever. So anyways, so yeah, this whole thing with the spirit animal, I knew when I was watching that movie, The Golden Compass, that there was something to it. And since it was played by some very well-known actors and actresses like Nicole Kidman, who's the other actor? Golden Compass. Let's see. This one, he's a British one. He played also 007. Daniel Craig, Sam Elliott. And so, you know, because we all have these psychologically, you know, as far as the archetypes, animals have a representation of different people because we're all related on some level. And so it's not like you actually hold a spirit animal like what you'd see in the Golden Compass in you, but it's like they wanted to show it that it was following you. It was something that you're always talking to, and it reacts in kind of the same way that you do, but also the spirit animal gives you guidance, gives you awareness, can lead you down a dark path or an extremely light path. Okay? I mean, the Golden Compass was telling you everything that's going on. And I knew it, I just didn't know exactly what it was telling us. I knew there was something to that movie, but I didn't know exactly what it was. And then when my childhood friend from grade school, Kirk Akahoshi, when he is in the sciences world, he was a psychologist. He ran men's groups, transpersonal psychology type of stuff. Very, very popular dude, of course, because he's very kind and very, you know, loving, and also is part of the sciences field. And of course, academia in Silicon Valley is everything. But he started going downhill with cancer. I'm sure something told him that he had to go see a doctor. The doctor saw a mass. Instead of them feeding the mass and releasing the programming out of his colon, but in a way that's not just like a detox, like an instantaneous detox or whatever, they decided to take away that mass, attack that mass. And then he said something about that cancer is a spirit animal. And then I'm thinking like, oh, wait, hold on a second. I've seen this before. And so then last night, now here's the thing. I didn't really make that connection until I'm dealing with my dog, who is my spirit animal. I love my dog. My dog is everything to me, and I will not destroy her through medical or holistic system. And so I know she was treated for tumors and all of that before I even got her from the Humane Society. But she had a tiny little mass, there was no big deal before climate change. It was something that was just a very small thing. It was her programming, but it was small. So her body, her parent cells, her programming at the time was fine before climate change. Then climate change happened, and then that mass started growing. It woke up. Now, it wasn't as big, it wasn't growing big, but as her parent cells became smaller and not as numerous, not as predominant, the mass became more predominant. And so that mass was actually eating her out from the inside. So that's the children, that's the babies that are starving. That's all of the allegory that's telling you the children are starving. Feed the children, but not necessarily the children out there in society. Yes, that too. But in reality, literally, you have to feed the children inside of you, the microbial babies, or they will torture you, or they will cannibalize you. And so then when you think about what cancer is. Cancer is your new evolution. Cancer is your spirit animal. Cancer is something to be respected. The reason why you have cancer is because you have allowed your children to starve because you did not foster those babies correctly. You weren't eating the foods that were bioavailable. Those kids were starving, and so what were they doing? They were cannibalizing the parent. And so when I posted in my website that short video of the Golden Compass about dust, and I remember how dust and even certain things in our society are so stigmatized. Cancer is stigmatized. Yeah, any kind of symptoms are stigmatized. People will go and starve their cancer. They will go and take it out. They will go and attack it with rife machines, oncology, radiation. That's all over the medical holistic system. And so when I wrote Spirit Animal, a cancer patient who died from their therapies a few years ago said at one time, cancer is my spirit animal. And then the system actively destroyed the spirit animal and then him. And I'm like, rest in peace, Kei Akahoshi. Cancer was his spirit animal. And now he is dust. Remember the movie with Nicole Kidman, The Golden Compass? Remember the theme of the movie was about the fear and stigma of dust and how the children were disappearing in the cold, dark depths of the science world, who were actively removing their spirit animal, the animals who were attached to all the characters in the movie. If you watch that movie and these kids were being kidnapped by the system, by scientists, and they were taken to this like children's asylum, looked after by a bunch of nurses, by a bunch of scientists, and there was this machine that was to separate the child from their spirit animal. And then the child is out there now, finally, after he's been run through the system, they have no more spirit animal, and they also have no more life left in them. And so it shows the juxtaposition in the beginning of the movie where the protagonist or the hero of the movie and the young girl with her spirit animal, gallivanting along with her. Her dad, Daniel Craig, had his spirit animal. The evil witch, the evil woman, which was the Nicole Kidman, had her evil spirit animal, and it was some kind of deranged monkey. Okay? And it showed there in the beginning of the movie all these spirit animals, and then it showed towards the end how the children were having their spirit animal actively removed out of their body or removed from them. And then they were then given back to the world with no spirit animal. No potential for evolution. And so dust was the thing that the authority, the scholars of their time, did not want anyone to talk about. It was taboo. Much like poop, much like cancer. You talk about cancer, everyone freaks the fuck out. And what do? They starve themselves. They go and they allow someone to do oncology on them and take away their life force, their spirit animal, their life force. And so what is dust in the Golden Compass? In an interview from the 2007 Golden Compass film, author Philip Pullman described dust as a mysterious force of which the powerful people in the story seem to be afraid. Dust threatens power. So when you finally get a hold of your spirit animal and you protect it with everything, that is your power. That is you now disengaging from the system of dependency called the medical holistic system. And so the hero bear was the key. And he was the one that helped her fight against the enemy when they all trekked to that children's asylum, where all the children that were kidnapped were then put into this asylum to be actively separated from their spirit animal. Those bears were key. Those bears were the key to longevity. It's not a freaking coincidence that I figured out the bear's fecal plug was everything, why we are programmed to pass away or programmed to be whatever we are in your politics, in your religion, and in your scientific dogmas. And so the hero bears was the key. The hero bear was the key. Bears losing their fecal plug so they can begin again and program their own spirit animal. Because you came into this world programmed. You came into this world with a fecal plug. When you're growing in your mom's belly, you're taking on your mom's information and also the programming, the fecal plug, and that grows with you. And then science goes and adds more to it and then systematically tries to program the body in a specific way. That's all the therapies. And that's fine. You were born into a system where you are supposed to serve the system for a certain amount of time, and then either you pass away or you fucking take your life back. But people choose to pass away because it's easier to pass away than take their life back, because it would require them to change, require them to do things that they don't want to do at this point. And that's fine. That is their choice. But as long as they're given that choice, when you're not given that choice, then yeah, it's like a 1945 type of thing, but in a different way. You attack your spirit animal, remove it, Cancer, or trap the aggressive spirit animal who was converted by the medical system, you destroy yourself. When you trap that thing inside your body because of the anti-inflammatories, and you take things like Ivermectin, which I see people in my Jelly Juice crowd still promoting, because they don't want to feel. And I understand that. I can't convert them. I can't tell them anything. No, you can't tell people who are dead set on destroying their spirit animal that they should feed it and pull out the programming. Some people are too far gone, or they're too set in their ways. They could not possibly even think about doing anything for themselves like that, but they would rather go take something from the medical system. And they claim that the medical system and all the therapies are so poisoned, but yet they're taking something from the medical system. That's the hypocrisy around the medical holistic system. They don't understand what makes up the remedies. They don't understand what makes up all of their pills and powders and supplements and detoxes. They don't know what makes up, because they're told that this is the hero thing that will stop everything. Yeah, it eventually will cause rest and peace. You stop the life in your body, guess what? When you systematically stop the life in your body, you become a rock. You become a stone face. You become non-existent. You must feed your spirit animal and pull out the demons. Your children have spirit animals actively under attack from the system of holistic and allopathic medicine. That's what is the irony out there in the right wing conspiracy world. And I get that they don't understand what's going on, and they're turning to all the holistic stuff. They're turning to stuff that was like deemed not safe from the FDA. And so what do they actually do? That's this reverse psychology. When the FDA says, hey, this is not approved for this, and this, and people are like, oh my gosh, if the FDA does not approve it, it means that it's safe because of all the psychology behind it. And so then you're seeing people actively running towards the things that are actually going to actually destroy them, but they were told, hey, it's not FDA approved for this, and this. See, when things are FDA approved, it actually is relatively safe, but if you can't handle things that are FDA approved, you have the issue. It's not the FDA that has the issue. It's the people with a deficient system who have been systematically attacking their own spirit animal and their children's spirit animal is why they have issues with everything. Not just food, but everything. The air, the food, the water, everything. And the politics and the religions and the scientific dogmas. And they consistently turn to medicine regardless of the form. When you are advocating medicine, it'll change shape. It'll convert. When your intent is to remedy something, remedies, M-E-D-I-E-S, R-E-M-E-D-I-E-S, it's all in the words. It's in plain fucking sight. When you're turning to medicine, what are you doing? You are attacking your spirit animal, you're attacking your children's spirit animal, and you're attacking your future evolution. And you're systematically destroying it with your okay. That's the irony of the Alex Jones world. That's the irony of the pills, powders, and supplements and detoxes world. They think they're doing something different because it's not under the FDA approval or allopathic medicine, because it's called holistic medicine, and it's run by homeopaths and run by naturopaths and osteopaths and chiropractors and all these different offshoots, but the intent is still the same. They're medicinizing themselves. Dante's Inferno was all about the alimentary canal and the demons torturing the person. My dog has a spirit animal that is making her extremely strong, and I feed her small mass, and I respect it, and I allow her to change, not resist her changes. Her mass is also becoming part of her, not cannibalizing her. I bottle feed my dog pureed meat, milk, grains, fruits, veggies, and carbs. So I had leftovers yesterday with pancakes, with some syrup, and eggs. I put that in the blender, add milk to it with other stuff that I've added, and I bottle feed the shit out of her. And she is becoming strong. And then pulling out the programming. She is actually releasing that program. It's not any more diarrhea. Now it's still pasty, but that's okay. Pasty crap is better than having her poop like all over the place, but sometimes it has to happen because the body is releasing demons. But people are too afraid to do that. They'd rather go and medicinize themselves. They'd rather go and remedy themselves than actually pull out the programming and reprogram their spirit animal to their world, not to somebody else's world, not to their politics, their religion, or their scientific dogmatic world that was given to them at birth by the system they are trying to go against. Hi, sugar. Oh, what are you doing? You okay? Okay, good. Okay. Are you poopy? No? Okay. You farting? Okay, all right. You wanna go outside? All right, hold on. We'll go outside. Come on. We'll go outside. Come on, we'll go outside. I heard her farting, so that's why I was like, hold on, let me see. Oh, yeah. Don't mind a little bit of mess here. There's the puppy. There she is. See, I pulled her out of the depths of freaking hell, I'll tell you that much. And it takes time to pull your animal and yourself out of the depths of hell. People would rather die for their belief systems than save themselves and change. I'm serious, people would rather die. And it's obvious. Hey, sugar. Would a dying dog be able to do that? No. And so her spirit animal is like right her undercarriage. You see that little tiny mass? Right there. And it's becoming part of her. That's her spirit animal. That's what people are cutting out of their bodies. That's their potential. That's why you have a lifespan. Because you keep going under the knife and taking anti-inflammatories. You're not releasing. And so people's like, oh, how can you regrow limbs and organs? Well, yeah, if you keep taking your anti-inflammatories and you keep surgically taking everything out of your body, yeah, you won't have a chance to regrow limbs and organs or even prolong your life. You have to feed yourself, too, bioavailable nutrition. People don't. They keep eating their steaks, trying to feed their little tiny babies that can't even process that. So then the way to do it, they snack on the parents. And then the parents then become a shell of themselves. They lack the collagen. They look like the crypt keeper, or they look like Jabba the jellyfish. And I know it sounds a little judgmental, but not really, but that's exactly what goes on. And so she's getting stronger every day. She wakes up, going through the processes of night, and then I feed her, release the programming, and it'll be until that little mass becomes her and she becomes even more intelligent. Because the way she pees, like sometimes if she can't hold it, she'll pee in the bathroom, or she'll pee on the pee pads. She actually has peed on the pee pad. Or in the bathroom. She has not actually peed on the rug or on the floor that's not near a pee pad. There is intelligence. She understands what is right and what is wrong. Sometimes she can hold it, sometimes she can't. But she does find the places where she thinks it's the most appropriate that won't ruin anything of mine. She understands. She knows what goes on. She's not stupid. People think animals are stupid sometimes. They think their animals don't know any better. Oh, they know better, but sometimes they can't help it. And you got to give that allowance. When people don't, then they put their animals down or already condemn them to death. And that's what sucks, is when owners condemn their own animals to death before they give their animal a chance to live. That's the craziness about it. All right. Hi, Siggy. And so, yeah, my book, I fixed my website. So my website is actually user-friendly now. And I did that all in one night. And I used my blog site as a response to all the different critics out there, which is fine. They can have their say. People will. People do. That's called diversity. You got to be able to handle it. It's hard to handle, especially when they're making personal attacks on you that have nothing to do with your book. But that's just how people operate. Since they don't know how to articulate, they'll do personal attacks versus actually, hold on. They don't know how to articulate. That actually responding to the information at hand. I mean, it's difficult to, when you don't know what's wrong with you, you'll then hate a person or you'll blame something else out there. And that's what's wrong with the world, is that they choose not to understand themselves. They choose to give themselves away to somebody else and then blame them when they don't have the outcome they're looking for. I've done it, so I know exactly, okay? I know from experience. I've walked in most of your shoes, if not all of them, when you think about it, on some level. Not all shoes, okay? But I've walked in a lot of shoes out there because I've been around the block, not literally like that, but I've been around different places. I've met different people from different places all over the U.S. I've been to China, been to Hawaii, been to different parts of the U.S., been to Canada, yeah. I've been to a lot of different places. I've lived in the ghetto. I've lived in higher echelon places. I lived in the country. Okay, so when you are allowing other people's thought process to come in and you've exposed yourself to so many different things, then you can say, you've walked in shoes. You've walked in other people's shoes. Okay? And so, it's all about exposure to diversity. You don't expose yourself to diversity, you will have a very narrow point of view. So narrow that you will then hate others that are different. And that's what's going on in this world right now. Is that people have such narrow point of views that they don't really hate the person, they hate the ideas, but they then come out and say they hate the person. When they really don't, because they don't even know the person. You have to know someone to hate them. If you don't really know them, really, you only know what they say on Facebook, but not really know them, and they haven't done anything to you, then you're dealing with people who have not been exposed to anything different. They've been so homogenized in their insulated world of the country, of the city, of their politics, of their religion, of their science, and they've chosen not to evolve and take on information. So spirit animals is the animal that is angry inside of you, or that is so love, 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 or so hate, hate, hate. Okay, and when it turns into cancer, that's your evolution. That says that you have so much love, so much hate, so much emotion, and now you have cancer, which means your body's trying to rebirth itself because your love and your hate and your emotions are destroying it. As well as having a bunch of kids, because let me tell you, when women get breast cancer and they have a bunch of kids, those kids took so much from them, the body has to now rebirth itself because it dropped so many seeds and dropped so many eggs. You're like, well, I don't understand how a person so beautiful and so loving died from cancer, because they weren't meant to be all about love, love, love. They weren't meant to be all about hate, hate, hate. They weren't meant to be all about emotions and anxiety and blaming and all the things that happen. Okay, so when someone dies of cancer and they're lovey and dovey and everyone loves them, they weren't meant to be that way forever. They were supposed to evolve from the love, love, love. They were supposed to evolve from the hate, hate, hate. They were supposed to evolve from their lifestyle, and they chose not to. They resisted evolution, and that's why cancer comes into people's bodies, or that's why disease or autoimmune disorders or hormonal imbalances, is that they refuse to evolve. And that is the issue. When you resist evolution, cancer comes in. And so with my dog, I didn't know that I actually had to break her food down. And so, I was feeding her, but she wasn't eating all the food I was giving her. Until finally the climate changed and then revved up the engines and her babies metastasized. And then they were feeding on her left and right. No different than when you have a mother who has a bunch of babies on the little nipples, and the mother is not getting fed, and the kids are sucking the life out of them, literally sucking the life from the mother, from the nipple. And that's like bank accounts. When your kids are literally sucking the life out of your bank account because they were not allowed to go and be themselves, that's no different. Bank accounts, nipples, harboring, metastasizing babies, they're not being fed and matured correctly. It's all connected. And so that's where I made the mistake. But I learned from that mistake, and I redoubled the efforts of making sure the food was broken down for her. And that's what I'm doing today. I break her food down and bottle feed her, because now she's going to become stronger and a much better version of what she was before. And that's what I want for my JJ crowd, is to be a stronger, better version of you. Not have you disappear and then have your kid represent you. I want you because you are so fucking special. Not because you're special but you're special as far as unique, and you have something to offer. So do your kids, but your kids have to go through the fire, and if they weren't taught to go through the fire, it'll be questionable how long they'll last in this environment. You parents that have understood me on some level, have the chance to redirect. Because you're exposed to this and you understand it conceptually, intellectually. Some of you, not all of you. Some of you understand this. Others of you are following me because of whatever, but you're still promoting all your herbs and your medicines and all the different things in the market that were not FDA approved for whatever you think is supposed to help you. And so sometimes I think I am a fad to certain people, which is fine. Everyone has something. But you have to understand why there's such a rise in cancer, because of so much of the stem cell research, and then of course all the alchemy that's out there that is offered to you by the MLMers, the pills, the powder supplements and detoxes, and all the herbs and extracts are developing new offspring that if you release them, no problem. But people aren't releasing them because they have a closed immune system. They literally have a closed immune system. What does that mean? Because I'm pooping every day. Yeah, as soon as you feel pain, you're taking an anti-inflammatory and you're stopping the body from releasing, hence painkillers. You've immobilized your body's ability to release. That's what the Ivermectins do. That's what all of the anti-inflammatories do. And people in my JJ crowd are still promoting the Ivermectins. They're still promoting the anti-inflammatories. They don't get it, but again, I can't tell them anything. Diversity, tolerance. I mean, it pains the hell out of me, but again, diversity and tolerance. They're still beautiful people. But I don't think they can handle the actual pain of release in the old world and coming into this new world, because politics, religion, and science have been so intensely embedded in people, and they have so much fear within them, and they're so far gone. All they want now is just a peaceful way out the door, and the system will give them that, believe me. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And so I haven't done a video the last day or so because my husband's been home, and it's just fine. We've been hanging out, and I've been working on articulating my point of view to support my book and give you guys a little bit of ammunition for your friends and family. And when they start like, oh my God, you're going to do the JJ world. Well, hey, in this environment, anything is possible as far as premature passing away or premature diagnosable conditions, if not already. And so you only have two choices, deteriorate and die, which is happening all around you, or you redirect with food. Not with a cure, not with any kind of whatever, but then you have to then talk to your doctor if it's that scary to see how they can support you. And this is where I can recommend that you talk to your doctor by telling them what you want to do. If you're saying, hey, doctor, I know I'm 300 pounds. I know I'm morbidly obese. I need help with clearing out my colon. I don't want to rely on colonics. I don't want to rely on anything on the market on a long-term basis because I don't want to have a perforated rectum or have dehydration from so many hydrotherapies. But I want help in at least getting the system activated to pull out some of that fecal programming that's causing my issues. And I need help. What do you recommend? How long do you think I recommend me doing a hydrotherapy? Ask your doctor how long they would recommend that. Ask your doctor if when you do feel stuff, what ask your doctor anything you want. But ask your doctor to assist you in activating your immune system. Ask your doctor this. Say, I want to feel pain, but I also want to make sure that pain is supported. And so the first thing is, do you need to blow your nose? First thing is you need to ask your doctor how to help clear out your colon right now that it has full of stuff right now. and then tell your doctor, well, I plan to have my immune system go and pull out the anomalous programming systematically, and I want you to know this is what I'm doing, and ask them whatever you want. I don't know how much they're going to help you in wanting you to feel pain, but you could ask them anything you want and tell them what you're doing, that you're supported with all food. Oh, but you're allergic to this food and your body will close up with this. Well, then find alternative things that won't let your body close up so much, and then transition. And tell your doctor, I want to transition back onto milk if I'm allergic. Ask your doctor everything in the fucking world, but use the medical system to your advantage, not their advantage. And again, when people die from heart disease because they've trapped those antibodies working against them in their bloodstream, which has no choice but to replicate, fornicate, reproduce, and then attack the vital organs. And that's why heart disease is the #1 killer in women and men. And so you have to release the demons and ask your doctor how you can do it safely initially, and then one day you'll do it on your own. But ask your doctor. And if they say, well, nope, you're too far gone, or nope, you might have this and that, and I don't think you are ready for this, and you have a kid to watch, and you might trigger something that could potentially make you immobile, like the worst case scenario, Ashton Kutcher and his vasculitis. Those are worst case scenarios, and make sure you ask your doctor as far as predisposed issues, what you might encounter during that process. Ask your doctor everything, and they will tell you. Yeah, you might, but some will like, well, you don't really have too many predisposed issues. Like, since I don't have anyone genealogically, related to me, there's no way to know my predisposed issues. So I did a whole Hail Mary, but I also was not experiencing heart issues. In the past, I had low blood pressure versus high blood pressure. Okay? I didn't have any diagnosable conditions, except for I diagnosed myself with PMDD because every month I was fucking tortured by my PMS. And it was on steroids. But some of you have predisposed issues that you want your doctor to assist you with while you're going through a process. And so that's a good way to say, hey, when I do become immobile for whatever reason, okay, is there something, or even something that I could, I don't know if your doctor could help you with that, but you'd have to set up your own plan Bs, like if you do become immobile, that you have a friend or a family that'll help with your kids, that will help with that'll help with your laundry, that'll help feed you, and put everything in a blender, because now you got to feed the babies. That's the thing, is you got to employ not only yourself, but to put up backup plans in case that were to happen. That you have someone willing to put McDonald's and milkshakes and a little bit of salt and fruits and veggies in a blender, and then you drink it so you can feed the babies, and then you can teach those babies how to walk. Teach those babies how to talk. That's why I want to say, you got to understand the worst case scenario in all this and make sure you have backup plans. I didn't have that. I just kind of did shit, and I was actually immobilized a little bit in my bed for a day. Some of you, it could be for a week. It could be, who the hell knows? I couldn't tell you. That's why you got to talk to your doctor and see what's in your genetic line. See what kind of things you are predisposed to, so you know what you're in for. That's how you can use the medical system to your advantage, and then set things in place, set up backup measures. It's all about planning. Taking back your life after it's been royally gone through the ringer, through the medical holistic system, is not an easy venture. And in this environment, anything can happen. In this environment, there is no predictability in this environment. Predictability is rest in peace, because it's happening for those who are at the end of their line and they didn't know it because they weren't prepared. They weren't conditioned to handle a highly aggressive environment such as this because they never had to feel any pain. And remember, those kids, those CRISPR gene edited kids that were never sick, that never missed a day of school in their life, and they're given stars and accolades as the thing to be. I'm sorry, but sickness is the conditioning process. If you never get sick, if you've never gotten sick, you will have a predictable lifespan, and the system will exploit your resources for as long as they can, until either you die suddenly or you contract an issue that you can't come back from because it'd be too painful, because you've never experienced pain in your life. When kids' lives are so fucking easy because parents have made it so easy for them They won't have the conditioning process to handle suffering. Suffering is the conditioning to life. Suffering helps you acclimate and transition to the next life. When kids don't fucking suffer even a tiny bit or told no, then when they do come upon hard circumstances, they'll fold and they'll go and inebriate themselves or do something that will be self-destructive, and then they won't live very long. That's why my mom said that I care about you, and this is why I care about you, because I'm not making your life fucking easy. It's sink or goddamn swim. And it made me angry for years. Because everyone else around them was given all their toys, given their cars and their careers, and given all this shit that I was never given. I was pissed. I'm in Silicon Valley and everyone around me is fucking rich as hell, and here I am driving a 79 Honda Accord that I spray painted black on because I didn't know any better about something, and I look like I'm from the ghetto. I look like I was just, I don't know, man. But then I realized 50 years old, my mother gave me a fucking gift of suffering. She gave me the gift of suffering. And so now as I'm 50 years old, and I realized that the suffering was that helped me got through all of what I've been getting through and build my life the way I want and help me produce this book to give to other people as a guide of some sort of my life. And if they can do it, great. If they can't, that's fine. But I didn't realize my mom gave me a fucking gift. Even though she probably didn't realize it, she gave me a gift. But I had to go through the process of coming to terms with that. That was the gift that she gave me, was the suffering. Because it means that when the climate changes yet again, and it will, that's a guarantee. That's a guarantee. When the climate changes, I'll be able to handle it, and I won't die suddenly. And I won't even fold under the pain, because the pain is not that bad. I'm blowing my nose. I'm pulling the poop out. I'm feeding myself. I have absolutely every freaking opportunity, every possibility to survive climate change and the economical changes. Now, obviously, if an asteroid comes and hits my town and we're ground zero, well, see you later. And now all my shit's on the internet. Go have at it. But as long as the environment holds life and there isn't some aggressive, energetic thing that comes into my town, I can handle climate change. I can handle everything. And I will never put myself in the medical holistic system unless I am unconscious or I happen to be in a car accident where I actually am conscious and I see that, oh yeah, there's a steering wheel in my ass. Can you please remove it? And I don't care if I have to go into the knife. I will tell them, please remove that steering wheel from my ass. And do what you got to do it. And they will. And then they'll give me whatever. They'll prescribe me drugs and whatever. Okay, that's fine. And I go home and throw the drugs away, eat a bunch of food, release the damaged cells, and become whole again. Not trap the cells in my body with anti-inflammatories. When you trap damaged cells in your body, guess what you get? Damage. Replication. You get replicated damage. And so that's why we are in the Georgia Guidestones, guiding reproduction carefully, so we don't replicate damaged cells. Oh, but who's to say damage? That's what I'm saying. The system, the environment will determine who is damaged and who is not a person, place, or thing. The environment will determine who is damaged. And then you realize when people are dying suddenly and they look beautiful and they look gorgeous and they look like they're healthy, maybe they weren't, because they can't handle climate change. They couldn't even handle the therapies. I'm saying the therapies aren't poison. They are FDA approved. But they couldn't handle the environment because they were not conditioned, because everything came easy to them, even their own biological system. They were cured. And they were given gifts that they didn't feel any pain in the old world, and then as soon as the body wanted to do something and it didn't have what it take to do it, they died suddenly. Done. And so this is how it should have been done a long time ago, but they had to do it, but they had to go through the process. We're not trying to repeat 1945. It's not a person or even a group of people saying that this is who lives and this is who dies. There are no death panels. People are choosing to resist evolution. And when you choose to resist evolution, you can't blame anyone but yourself. And so then the environment, the climate change is what determines efficacy or lack thereof. And so while in my book I was said, oh, I'm so angry, but I mean, I actually did say, I love you, Mom. Despite it all, I love you. I closed that door. In my book, I closed that door. There's no more of that door of hatred. may not have a relationship, and that's fine. Because I had to go through the process, and, you know, I'm sure parents are like, shit. But that's okay, you know? They did what they had to do. I did what I had to do. We all did what we had to do, and then we become better for it. Or become worse from it, you know. Either way, you choose. I have chosen to become better for it. I've chosen. Some of you have chosen to make life worse because of how you characterize your upbringing or how you characterize how you came into this world. Some of you have it so easy. So easy. Because you have a family unit that will bail you out of every situation, financially, biophysically, everything. Some of you have so much family and so many friends that will bail you out that, yeah, you all go down the ship together because no one has suffered. No one has figured out how to do it on their own because you keep bailing each other out. You know, my husband and I, we don't have anyone to bail us out. We had to bail each other out. But that was each other. You know, when in the beginning, I know I put a lot in the relationship, so did he. And so now he's put a lot in the relationship, and so have I. But we have nobody to go and give us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to bail us out of stupid ass situations. That's why I say we have no one to bail us out. We have to bail out each other. And then when he's gone or I'm gone, we have to bail out ourselves. I can't depend upon the world out there to give me a handout. I got to do it on my own and learn how to do with almost nothing. When you learn how to do with almost nothing, then you realize you don't really need that much to live on. But your friends and family have made you, conditioned you to need everything. Need them. Need all of their fucking baubles, and they're saving you and all this shit. And then when the rubber meets the road and you don't have what it takes to deal with a hard situation, then people fold. And they die suddenly, or they just give up. And they self-destruct. And so that's the Gen X, is we have bailed ourselves out. That's the Gen Xers. But some Gen Xers don't like that, and then they become helicopter parents. And they give their kids everything, doing the exact opposite of what they were brought up. That's the issue right now, is that we have now Gen Xers who are giving their kids everything in the fucking world. So the kids that don't stand a chance. Their poor fucking kids don't stand a chance. The reason why you're so innovative, Gen Xers, is because you had to do it yourself. You had to bail yourself out, Gen Xers. Why repeat those kind of mistakes that have happened before? When you give your kids everything, when you give yourself everything you could possibly want, we don't suffer a little bit. And so maybe that was the split between the Jews and the Christians. The Christians didn't want to suffer, and the Jews understood suffering. Maybe that was the reason why the Jews why the Jews became so influential, because they understood the power of suffering. And maybe the Christians didn't. Maybe Christians, it's time to suffer a little bit. You can still be Christian. You can still love your Jesus Christ, and that's fine. You can still have all that. But if you want to prolong your life and you want to save yourself from all this shit going on, you got to suffer a tiny bit. But I can't tell you to suffer, and I can't even try to promote this to you. You have to be the one to understand what it takes. And you have your situation to deal with. And you have to figure out where you're going to suffer and where you're not going to suffer. But maybe that was why the split between the Christian and the Jews. And maybe that's why the difference between myself and those that parted ways with me from the JJ world. When I was working next to them, they didn't want to suffer, and I wanted to suffer. They wanted to be all happy, happy, joy, joy. Let's sell this as this and make money off of this. And they didn't want to suffer by even telling their friends and family that they are suffering and that they need to suffer to get through this. And so I chose to suffer and post everything on Facebook and not worry about what people said about me. And they chose not to. They chose to keep all that shit under wraps and promote beauty and whatever. And no one, and that's all a dime a dozen. Beauty and the energy healing world and all the ending of the suffering, that's a dime a dozen out there. But I chose to suffer. I chose to suffer under the scrutiny of Dr. Phil. I chose to suffer on my Facebook. I chose to suffer when, well, I didn't choose that. I didn't choose to have my account taken away. But that was a forced suffering that I chose to deal with and face. Yeah, I lost 5,000 followers on my last Facebook account. And also my last business page. I lost all that. But did I like make it work against me? No. That suffering fueled my fueled my intentions to even get this word out even more and even and more strategic. It fueled my ability to figure out my stupid website to make it more user-friendly, because it wasn't. Oh, I'm sure you looked at it many times over the years and were like, what the hell is she doing? She obviously has not had anyone look at her. I did my own website. Nobody did that website for me, just so you know. I figured out how to make it user-friendly for the Android and for the desktop. And I'm telling you, I'm proud of myself, okay? I'm actually proud of myself. I did my own book, and I didn't have anyone do it for me. No one edited my book. No one did any of the illustrations. I did it all my fucking self. I relied on nobody with this, except the energy from your support and from your criticism. That's what the whole JJ world is about, is you save your damn self. There is no one out there to save you. There's no drug, pill, powder, supplement, or anything, or detox, or mommy and daddy. Yeah, mommy and daddy will save you until they pass away, and then when they're gone, who's going to save you? I guess you're going to save yourself, or you can depend upon your kids to save you, right? That's also the other side of it, is that people depend on their kids to save them. And then they all go down the ship together. I'm telling you, suffering is such a double-edged sword. It really is. Because people can suffer and die, or they suffer and freaking have a new lease on life. And you have to support the suffering correctly, efficiently. And sometimes people are going to fall to the wayside. Some of your kids will fall to the wayside because they won't get it. And you don't have enough energy to save them and yourself at the same time. When you're out there in the middle of the ocean and you're drowning, there's 2 kids. Which one are you going to save? If you have the ability to save them. You can't save them both. And that's what goes on right now in this society, is people they can't save everybody in their family. They have to save themselves and maybe 1 or 2 children that are on board, that understand this. And the other kid's going to have to go to the wayside. That's the reality that we're facing right now. That's the reality that we're facing. And so suffering is the path to longevity. How much suffering is based upon how much you have in substance and how much you're willing to, again, feed that suffering and then turn it into something that's innovative. That's why we have such aggressively talented artists in Hollywood, in politics, religion, and science, because they went through some suffering. It's called MK Ultra. But now no more MK Ultra, no more violence against somebody else. Now you're going to have to suffer your own choices and fold from them, or make your world better from the bad choices and the good choices you've made in your life. Because they have all the prototypes. They have all the DNA. They have all the programmed DNA out there in the DNA banks. It's been recorded ever since a long time ago. And then they realize how drugs can innovate a person, but too much innovation can destroy you. Not enough innovation, you're not very, intelligent. But then when you rebirth yourself, you can still keep the intelligence and take on more intelligence without dying. And maybe not even reproducing a child. Maybe you can, maybe, people do. But if you're going to have a kid in this day and age, you better become a whole person, because then you're replicating damaged cells. And I'm sorry, that's how you have to put it, because what happens at the micro level happens at the macro level. When you replicate damaged cells, that's why people die from preventable diseases like the aging process, or have a child that is in major deficit or has issues with assimilating. And so, not to say that your kids that were a replication of you don't have a chance to become whole again, because they do, but they have to understand the process to become whole again. And if not, the environment will determine their longevity. Unless you determine your own longevity, the environment will determine your longevity. And so that's why the climate change. Regardless of if it was contrived or it's in response to what? Even then, response to what? In response to then releasing all the damaged cells in the society, or responding to the cycles of the universe, okay? But are the cycles of the universe where we've allowed so much reproduction, not really caring what we're reproducing, and now we have to go and pull back and correct the mistakes? Well, that's what's going on. We are correcting the mistakes, but it's not mankind that's making that choice. It's the climate. And then you have a chance as an individual to redirect yourself, redirect your genetic line, or allow your children and yourself to gamble with the environment, and you hope you don't die suddenly or contract a preventable disease. But the food is not poison. The therapies aren't poison because they're all FDA approved. Nothing is poison if it's FDA approved. And if you have an issue with it, it's because you don't like evolution, you have an issue with evolution, and you've been programmed that everything around you is poison. That's the depopulation agenda. That's the depopulation agenda. When you have an issue with feeling evolution. And so, my book is introducing to you that you are 69 trillion trainable hydra that have been traumatized, that have been damaged and trapped and not allowed to release and have been replicated. And you think that is reality, and it is your reality, but you can also change it. And you can retrain your hydra, because the aging process says that your body needs to evolve. And if it's not evolving, then those children will cannibalize you and then take you down to the most common denominator, that single-celled amoeba that will be floating around in the plasma of the sunbeams looking for a body to inhabit and become another collective cell, a memory, a small little distant memory. Because that's what Hydra are, they're memories. Energy is memories. And some memories are very influential when you go into places where Zach Bagans goes to and then they see these apparitions. That's a very influential memory. Or they're so famous that they have a Wikipedia page, or not. Or they have some other kind of page because they were so influential. Regardless, notorious, influential. Anyone influential can look at as bad or good relative to perception. And so that's how memories can become distant and become non-existent, and that's how memories can be so influential. Is that either you make a mark in your life and you fucking suffer and change your life and redirect yourself, and you can't save your kids. You can't save all your kids. I'm telling you, if it's between you and yourself, and your kid has to be the one to fend for themselves, and you have to lay down and you can't sit. I'm telling you, you can't always save everything. You have to find a way to save. Because if you don't save yourself, parents, your kids are left to gamble with this environment. If you can't change your kid, redirect your kid's way of looking at the world, this environment is going to determine that for them. Because if you're passing away and aging aggressively, what makes you think your kids are not going to? Of course they are. They have your genetics and they have your same traditional thought process. Anesthetize, surgically take something out, and always give yourself to the medical holistic system. And so as they are growing up and they are aging excessively in this environment, just watching my seat cushions out there dry up and disintegrate from this climate change will tell you exactly how your kids are going to be excessively aging aggressively and then contracting the same things that you've dealt with earlier with more exotic conditions on top of that. So that should be some sort of kind of clue, parents. You got to either redirect yourself and help your children redirect on some level, or you become a gamble. It'll be like Russian roulette. And I'm trying to help myself redirect and give you guys the opportunity to see what I'm doing. But again, I can't guide you through it. I can't save you. I can't even tell you that you have to suffer. You got to go talk to your doctor and tell them what you want to do with your body. Not have them tell them, or have them tell you what to do with your body. You tell them what you want to do with your body. And see how well that will go over with them. You're paying their fucking salary. You're paying them the monthly premiums. Your insurance is paying them. Maybe you should tell them what you want them to do. But that's if you know what you want. If you don't know what you want, then you'll be left with somebody else telling you how to do everything. If you don't tell your doctor what you want, and not take away the pain, but you want them to help you release some of that programming so you can take on new programming, and you want them to know that you want to feel pain. You don't want the anti-inflammatories. You don't want all the medicines and surgeries. You want them to know that you're going through this and that you're going to be okay, and you're letting them know this is what you want to do, and that you want to pull out some of that programming, and you want to evolve. And it's through the food supply, all the food supply. And maybe you want them to prescribe you something that's less aggressive so you can handle the transition process. Because even if they give you something that is like a pill, and you're like, oh, it doesn't work. Well, you're not supposed. If you're asking your doctor for a pill to help you transition, and you still feel some pain, then that means that your body needed to do what it needed to do, and that pill probably helped you not have so much pain, because the pain could have been worse. The fact that they gave you a pill and you still felt pain meant that it was survivable. Okay, so you can ask your doctor for things that are not so aggressive to help you manage that process of pain and release. But you have to characterize pain differently. And if you don't, then yeah, you're just gambling. And so that's what I think the difference between the Christians and the Jews are. The Christians don't want to suffer, and the Jews found the power in the suffering. And that's why there's a lot of hatred. And that's why there's a lot of anti-Semitism out there. Because some people do not understand the power in suffering. They think it's evil. No, it's not. It is the path to innovation. It really, truly is. And if you can't see that, and you don't want to ever have a hardship or characterize a hardship as a way of a training ground, and you want everything given to you and everything easy, then you have no one to blame but yourself. Bye.